All right, folks, what is going on? Back with another video. Hopefully you guys are having a great day. It is awesome out here. The weather's nice. Can't complain. It is pretty solid. The traffic's clean. Hopefully the traffic stays like this for the rest of the day. I really enjoy today. The day is really nice. But let's talk about something really quick. Why Sony cannot get away from this whole backlash when it comes to this physical copies thing, as well as they thought that Xbox was going to be the scapegoat. You know, Xbox going to come out with their layoffs and Sony could slide up under the radar. But as of right now of this recording, you can look, I think Sony just did something about Oblivion or something like that, and they're still getting the BTA. If you know what BTA is, look it up. They're getting that BTA right now on the timeline, and nobody's letting up. I'm going to tell you why. One thing I can say about the Xbox, Asha Shamar, I think I said her name right because I get her last name messed up. She's being honest, and in this day and age, this is something that the consumers really want. They want honesty. One thing about a lot of these companies, they hide stuff, they lie by omission, they want to keep things close to the chest, and it doesn't sit well with a lot of consumers. Now, on the flip side of that, is it really working? Not really, because people are a lot of all talking, no bite. They're going to buy stuff regardless. But I will say the backlash that's on social media, the reason why they're still getting it is because of the fact that nothing can escape what they're doing. And people are praising Xbox for being somewhat transparent. All those jobs layoffs, they suck. And to be honest, you know, you never want to see nobody lose their job, right? You know, I don't go as crazy as some people are. They're like devastated because people lose their jobs. I'm not going that far, but I will say that it does suck. And the thing about it is, you don't want to hear about stuff like that, but the fact of the matter is, out of everything the Xbox has been going through the last 13 years, it seems like they got somebody in it that's being straight up honest. They're sharing emails, they're letting you know that, hey, what we did was effed up, and we need to fix this. We need to reset. We need to do something to turn this around. And that goes a long way with a lot of people. People don't want to really admit it, but it is. It goes a long way with a lot of people. And I think that's why this week has been so bad for Sony, because even though you can't really correlate one with the other, a lot of people did think that with Xbox coming out with their news, this is going to slide under the radar and people is going to be like, you know what? Whatever Sony doing is, it's bad, but on to the next thing. And this is the thing, right? This physical copy thing, this physical game thing is a really big deal to a lot of people. Some people want to act like they're too cool for school and play like it's not a big deal. It really is, because it's not just what you want per se. It's bigger than that. Because for me, I already planned on going all digital when it came to the PS6 anyway. I did a video about that about a week ago. And this was before the news came out. But at the same time, I'm always willing to fight for consumers. And these people, including myself, who do prefer physical games, I'm going to fight for that. It's just the fact that I was going to go all digital with the PS6 is because I have too many physical games. I got too many. I don't need any more, to be quite honest. Now, I will still fight for the cause, because you got to understand that there is a situation where your rights are in jeopardy, and people don't want their rights to be violated, even though that is such a gray area with that. Consumer protection is a real thing, and people want to feel like they're protected in some ways. And what Asha Shamara did, that is some sort of a sense of protection. For her to go out there and say what Xbox need to do and they're working on it, people gravitate to that. Sony knows about that. People, gravitated to Sony in 2013. And now I guess the pendulum swings. I don't know. But I do feel like at the end of the day that Xbox, they can ride this wave and make something happen. I do think, and I'll talk about this in a later video, but I'll say this real briefly. I don't know if Xbox and or Sony could do this, but I will say this for Xbox. This is a really good time to go over there and talk to Nintendo and figure out how they do those key card things. Because if you don't even have to do disc, I promise you, you don't have to do disc. If you do something like a key card, it doesn't have to be the same size as a key card. It could be a little bit bigger. It could be like a hue card. I'm showing my age now. I said hue card, so you know what a hue card is exactly. You could do a hue card and actually put the games on a hue card and make it work. That'll be a physical, route that people can go. If Xbox or Sony was smart, that'd be the route. I do believe that discs are a little bit obsolete. Using two discs for one game, these games are getting too big. I get it, but I do think if they go like the hue route, a hue card or a key card route, maybe they can make it work. But then again, with the way that this industry is going on right now with storage and everything, that may not be a viable idea. But I'm just saying, just putting it out there. I think disc is probably still be the cheapest way to go. But at the same time, this is something that they may need to look into when it comes to getting goodwill. Because right now they're doing a little bit of something. Xbox is doing a little bit of something. Being transparent and honest is a really big deal. That's something that Sony hasn't done, even with the whole situation with the CD or DVD or Blu-ray, this thing, they haven't been really transparent. They're just trying to brute force it through and just keep posting like nothing happened. And like I said, that could work, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe they're going to be in a situation where they're going to it's going to hurt them. It's going to hurt them. I don't know if it's going to hurt them financially, but the PR battle is pretty much shot. And maybe that don't matter because at the end of the day, it's dollar signs, right? So, but yeah, right now they're getting BTA on the social medias right now. Every time they post, they're ready to gang up on them. I mean, I'm not saying as bad as Bud Light, but it's almost there because they're getting, they're just getting destroyed. One thing I will say though, at least they're not hiding replies. I will say that, but nevertheless, y'all can let me know what you think. I do think Asher Shamar and Xbox is pretty much one of the reasons why, the whole thing, they're doing what they're supposed to do to get good PR, and the whole Xbox thing is, it didn't work out too well for Sony or anybody else that thought that Sony was going to be able to get past this with Xbox. I mean, transparency goes a long way. It does. It really works. But nevertheless, they're almost done with my truck. I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. And thank you for making it this far. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate you guys. I'll see you on the next one. All right, y'all, I'm out. Peace.